The long wait ended in May. 6 years of frustration were over when Celtic won the Scottish Cup. Rangers were also celebrating at the end of last season. They made it 7 in a row. The title was back at Ibrox. Tonight, the Cup winners and the champions meet head-on. Live on Sky Sports, we football from Celtic Park. It's the fourth round Coca-Cola Cup tie between the big two in Scotland, Celtic and Rangers. And they don't take prisoners on nights like these. This is what an old firm clash is all about. And Celtic are in, relieved, hugely relieved to be back at Parkhead after a season away because of the redevelopment.
Yeah, sure, I will. It's a pleasure.
Peter Grant there making the night of a very young fan. Brian McLaughlin. And in the red jacket there, Tosh McKinley. There's the keeper, of course. Gordon Marshall. And the man masterminding the revival. Now then, what about Gazza's reception? I thought for a moment he was hiding, but no. Paul Gascoigne gets his first taste of the Glasgow derby tonight. Rangers looking very businesslike. Well, the old firm go at it again tonight for a place in the last four. Of course, it has to finish this evening. No replays, extra time if it's required, and then if that doesn't separate them, penalties. But one way or the other, it finishes tonight. Our guests were in the company of Stuart McCall and Charlie Nicholas, well represented on both sides, I believe. Welcome to you both. A nice jacket, by the way, Stuart. Did you have much trouble picking one out of the cupboard tonight?
No, I got told Charlie was wearing a green and white hoop one, so I thought I'd
That's the club uniform you're wearing.
That one leapt at you, did it?
That's it.
Charlie, just a word about Celtic there, back at Parkhead, am I right? Yep. Is there huge relief amongst the players to be home?
Tremendous feeling now. They've got the Celtic supporters. When they were at Hampden, the problem was that they became a little bit agitated with the team when they weren't doing it. But at Celtic Park, it's different. They feel at home. They feel a bit more patient, and that makes all the difference to the Celtic side.
And playing in those old firm matches last year, Stuart, at Hampden, which was Celtic's patch, was that strange in a way? Helpful, perhaps, to Rangers?
Yeah, probably. I think since I've been there for the 4 years, we've always performed better at Celtic's ground, and they've always done well at Ibrox. It didn't help Celtic at all. And going back from my own experiences with Bradford, when after the disaster we were away from his own ground for 16 months, and it's a great relief to get back. And I think, you know, Celtic will go from strength to strength being back at the stadium.
And I must say, Charlie, from what we've seen, the stadium begins to look very impressive at Parkhead now, but of course only half finished. There's more to come, isn't there?
Yeah, there's another 2 ends to finish it. It'll be absolutely sensational when it is completed. But at the moment, it just, for me, just looks a little bit unusual because, I mean, they've spent 17 million in this stand alone.
Yeah.
And it's tremendous, but the 2 ends being left barren, look a little bit silly at times, but it's quite an atmosphere now.
Full tonight, of course, and they've sold something approaching 28,000 season tickets for the season. But is it a strange arena to play in then, that being the case? Only part finish like that, and the open ends, the goals don't look like easy targets to find.
No, it's difficult. I played last season with Celtic at Easter Road, and they were building 2 new stands behind the goal. And it's a strange feeling because there's white porter cabins behind that, and Jimmy Nicholl made a point for Wraith Rovers in the last tie against Celtic that it was difficult to see the goals. And it'll be that way tonight. Hopefully Gaza will find that.
Well, we found Gaza. He's waiting to speak to us. He's with David Probin. Let's go to Parkhead.
Paul, it's your first Glasgow derby tonight. Looking forward to it?
Yeah, I am looking forward to it in a big way. I only hope that I can prove to people that I can be back to my best. And I mean, I would love to try and do it tonight, definitely.
You've played in derby matches in London and in Rome. Is this one going to be any different tonight?
We'll just have to wait and see, but I know I'm going to get some stick tonight. I'd just like to say thanks to Cheryl Mason Bianca by sticking by me for the stories I've been in the papers, and I know they're watching, and love you 3 years.
Looking back over the last week, you've taken a bit of criticism since the Steaua Bucharest game. Has it been justified?
Not really. I mean, we were just talking about it. I thought I'd done all right at Bucharest. I mean, I didn't play football there, but I thought I worked for the team. And like I said, if I can't do the football side and the skills, I only hope that I can give 110%, and I did that. We've played 14 games for Glasgow Rangers. We've been beaten away once by Steaua Bucharest, and that just shows how much pressure we're under as a team.
How good is your fitness just now?
My fitness is perfect.
Enjoy the match.
Cheers, thanks very much. Cheers. See you later.
Thanks, Paul.
Well, he seems very relaxed, but that's always the case with Paul Gascoigne, isn't it? Stuart, what can he expect tonight from this derby?
I think, obviously, at the beginning of it, it'll be hell for leather. Challenges will be going in. But hopefully, as the game settles down, he'll be able to get on the ball and produce the goods, because he's got a tremendous touch. And I think hopefully he'll take the game by the scruff of his neck and really play well. Is
it a game for Gascoigne, or is it likely to pass him by, the hurly-burly?
No, I'd like to say, I think early doors, both sides have got, good flair players on the side. They've got Collins, probably McStay's back for Celtic in the middle of the park, and we've got, obviously, Laudrup, Gascoigne, we Charlie Miller in there. So that's basically a lot of, footballers in there. So I think early on, it'll be hectic, typical cup football. But hopefully, like I say, when, the game settles down after 20 minutes, if he can get on the ball and make his passes, and I think he'll do well. And about
what Paul Gascoigne has brought to Rangers, what is life like at Ibrox now in the Gaza era?
Have you got an hour? Just absolutely crazy. I mean, he's hyperactive. I mean, he was in this morning at like 9:30, all the boys not until 11. He's really pumped up for this game tonight. He's daft as a brush, but he's great with it, great fun, and his ability is, tremendous. And I think unfortunately he had an injury in the away tie in Famagusta, which kept him back a couple of weeks. He couldn't train, and he was flying then, so he just put him back a little bit. But he had a good game for England, and he's getting better all the time.
As we've seen, and to his cost hugely, there are occasions when his enthusiasm runs away with him. I know in Scotland some of the bookies are taking odds on which minute he will be sent off tonight. Is he aware of all that?
Oh, yeah, I mean, like I say, he's played in the Rome derby and the London derbies. He's not a young boy anymore. Like I say, he's just full of enthusiasm, and that's a good part to have in your game, enthusiasm. I hopefully he won't have any problems, but you get people like Peter Grant who'll be in there against him, and I think he'll cope with it, and hopefully he'll be a linchpin for us tonight.
Charlie Stewart's told us what he can expect on the pitch. What sort of reception will he get when he steps out?
Well, I think by the sound of him, he sounds ready for it. They'll give him a real hard time. But I've read these papers the last few days also in Gaza, and especially in Scotland. And to me, he's experienced World Cup ties of great importance as a youngster. And now he's gathered experience in Italy and in London. And for me, he'll cope with this game, no problem. I don't see a problem for Gascoigne.
Well, we've got live football here on Sky Sports tonight, and football of the highest quality, arguably the biggest of them all. Celtic against Rangers for a place in the last 4 of the Coca-Cola Cup. Next up, the story of Celtic's season so far.
From the home of sport.
Live football tonight, Celtic against Rangers for a place in the last 4 of the Coca-Cola Cup. The head-to-head, that's one of the reasons that we talk about the enormity of this game, the history behind it. 314 meetings down the years. Celtic have won 111, Rangers 123, 80 have been drawn. That cannot happen tonight. It has to be a result. In the League Cup, 39 played, but Celtic have won just one of the last 8. Tommy Burns and Walter Smith, last season, 4 meetings. Tommy Burns edges it. He won the first 2-0 at Ibrox, and this is what happened in the other 3.
Caught by Charlie Miller. Through now for Hitley. Oh, that is a magnificent goal by Mark Hitley. 25 minutes gone. Terrific play by young Charlie Miller. Winning the ball, sliding it through to Hitley. And what a tremendous finish. Look at Miller there, digging in well against Tom Boyd. Looking up, looking around, sliding the ball through to Hitley. This is Boyd for Celtic. To Collins. Celtic hoping maybe they can get themselves a free kick just outside the box and let Collins in on it. But here's Boyd coming forward. Oh, that's a tremendous ball. Paul 39 minutes gone, and Paul Byrne for Celtic strikes a superb equaliser. Andy Gorham absolutely rooted to the spot. It's played in by Boyd. The first-hand shot, and Gorham rooted to his line. Good ball through again for Robertson. It's Hitley. Oh, tremendous play by Rangers. What a stunning ball through by Laudrup to Robertson. The cross from Robertson, and Mark Hitley gets his second goal of the match. It's Celtic 1, Rangers 2, 42 minutes gone. And here's a break on for Laudrup, showing tremendous pace. He's past the goalkeeper. A sensational goal by Laudrup. 65 minutes gone. Laudrup racing through the middle. He had the pace to get away from the chasing defender. He took it round the goalkeeper. O'Neill tried to get to the ball.
McCall. Well, Miller could get in here. Ferguson does. Ian Ferguson against the run of play in truth. But Rangers lead.
And it's all down to the man who will have that field, Martin. 5 minutes earlier could easily come off. Charlie Miller. Stuart McCall just knocks a ball over the top. Miller's first to react. They get the break of the ball there.
Collins with the cross. Oh, a brilliant goal. A marvellous goal by Byrne. Tied it in on the volley. Wonderful equaliser, thoroughly deserved by Celtic.
Oh, it's been on the cards, Martin, but a magnificent ball from John Collins. I said he's been having more and more of an influence in this game, but look at the way he picks out Byrne. And this isn't an easy chance.
McLaughlin. Linking with Donnelly. Good running by McLaughlin. Van Hooydonk. The great shot by Van Hooydonk. And Celtic take the lead. Well, that was a classic. Created by Brian McLaughlin. It's brilliant play by the little midfield man. He just goes past 2 tackles here now, just dinks the ball past Alan McLaren and Van Hooydonk, adjusts his feet. Look at this power. Look at that goal. Play by Donnelly. This is McStay. Looking for Donnelly again. He's away from McLaren. Chance on again for Celtic. Donnelly going all the way himself, and it's tapped in by Moore. An own goal by Craig Moore. Celtic go 2 ahead. Simon Donnelly has a look across the box. Puts it across the penalty area. Craig Moore trying to put it for a corner. So 3 in the wall here. Collins could bend this.
He scored for Celtic! Rudy Barta makes it 3-0 to Celtic. And Billy Thompson was beaten by the surprise element here.
And we saw the last two there live here on Sky Sports. I don't think you'd argue, Stuart, that Celtic have had the better of the last two, would you?
No, without a doubt. I mean, that was a battering for us. I mean, like you say, the season was almost done, but you never want to get beaten in Old Firm games. I mean, take that into the end of the season with them, and there's a bit of banter, and it was disappointing. Like I say, the team tonight, actually, there's only 2 of the players that played in that game, you know, through injuries and that. So hopefully the boys tonight can put up a better show.
But presumably it always hurts, whether the title was won or not, to lose a derby match of this importance like that. Must hurt.
That's right. I mean, it's only actually when you played them and won and lost. I mean, the build-up to the games, obviously, is everyone wants to know what's going on. But after the games, I mean, even the little lady down at the post office, they all know the results. I mean, they all know you and what's going on. And I mean, the first derby game I actually played, and we were lucky enough to win at Parkhead 2-0. I don't think I paid a taxi fare for a week afterwards. Free McDonald's meals and that. Honestly, it's amazing. If you do well, but on the other toss of the coin, if you get beat, then you just go in hiding for a week.
I think Charlie's still living off his last goal. How strong is the Celtic revival under Tommy Burns?
Well, it's definitely gathered a bit of pace. I think he's made... he hasn't hidden this summer, Tommy. I think he's basically says he wants 4 or 5 players. He's brought in a couple, and especially in the German Andreas Tom, he's got high hopes for. But I think he wants some more. But he's gradually improved it. His first season, he's won a Scottish Cup, eased the pressure off the team, and I think he's improving it slowly but surely.
That win must have not just eased, it must have been a tremendous blow when they finally won a trophy.
Yeah,
6 years without a cup.
6 years, and the worst thing was that Rangers were going so well, and the thing gets highlighted even more because of their success. But we did the lap of honour at Hampden that day, and nobody could move because the tension was just, you could feel it just draining from everybody, even the supporters' faces. It wasn't like the old days when you were used to winning things. It was just, the tension had eased out of everybody, and it was just everybody was so drained.
Well, as Charlie said, Celtic at last did have a few pounds to spend in the summer, and this is where it went. They broke the club transfer record to sign the German Andreas Tom. They're still waiting to find out how much they'll have to pay for defender John Hughes. Tom got Celtic's first goal of the season in the Coca-Cola Cup at Ayr United. It turned out to be a comfortable second-round win, Van Hooijdonk opening his account for the season with the second. John Collins completed the scoring. In the league, Celtic opened at Wraith.
A chance for the Barta. Van Hooijdonk! He scored!
Wraith came to Celtic Park in the third round of the Coca-Cola Cup, and Celtic extracted revenge for last season's final defeat. Simon Donnelly with the winner in the final minute of extra time. Celtic then went to Aberdeen on a Super Sunday. They went 2 down. Tom Boyd put through his own goal. Then Scott Booth put Ian Jess in for Aberdeen's second. It was time for Celtic to show their mettle.
Hughes to Donnelly. Linking with Van Hooijdonk. Good running by Collins. Tom's cross! He scored! A measured pass for Donnelly. Van Hooijdonk to Tom! Through Tom Collins!
Tom was the 2-goal hero as Celtic opened their European campaign with a win over Dinamo Batumi in Georgia. On Saturday, they met Motherwell.
Getting plenty of threat and aggression here. This is O'Donnell, he gets away from Martin. Oh, that's a marvellous goal by Phil O'Donnell.
Tommy Klein getting the touch at Hamlet. And Motherwell are back in this game.
Tommy Burns' team is unbeaten so far. Tonight could set the tone for the entire season. The Celtic under Burns, 52 played now. They've won 25, lost just 7, 20 draws in there. I'm going to say might have finished a good deal better. Would have finished better, Charlie, had they been able to turn one or two of those draws into wins last season.
Yeah, undoubtedly. I think that was a big downfall of Celtic. Celtic really need to get victories out of some games. The Rangers and the Aberdeen games take care of themselves, especially the Rangers games. They've done well against Rangers, but the smaller teams seem to give them a problem. And they end up drawing matches they should be winning. And that's been the difference between Rangers and Celtic. And
a quick word again about Tommy Burns. Are there certain managers for specific clubs? Does Celtic need someone that's played there, been ingrained with the right habits?
I believe so, because Celtic and Rangers are very special. It takes somebody who really knows how to work it, how it operates, and you need somebody who really has that knowledge to help out at the highest level. And I think maybe Tommy was a bit young in his managerial career to start it, but really there was very few alternatives. I mean, the Dalglishis of this world weren't probably interested at the time. So although Tommy wasn't the only choice, I think he was the right choice. But a little bit young maybe to start his career there, but I think now you can see him, he's starting to mature.
Celtic Park tonight, the home of Celtic, of course. The Old Firm in action live here on Sky Sports. Sell out, Charlie? Must be tonight.
Yes, it is. I think the only problem is that there might be a few spare seats, and that'll be really segregation between the Rangers and Celtic support.
Andreas Thom has certainly made a name for himself in the short period of time he's been there.
Funny goal! 3-9! Don't be on the head! Funny goal!
I think we've got the message, haven't we? John Collins, we saw playing at Aberdeen, scoring a wonderful goal at Aberdeen the other week. Has he grown, has he matured in the absence of McStay, would you say?
Well, I think what John has done is every big game that seems to come up for John, he seems to be particularly enjoying. There's so much talk about this guy moving on. I think he does really want to go to England. It seems to be that way. But he scored very vital goals, lots of vital goals for Celtic, and is a real inspiration to him when he's playing well. You see goals like this, I mean, this is quality stuff from Collins. He has great ability. There's just sometimes that people maybe say that there's maybe too many square passes, but when you see him in this type of form, and this goal is just outstanding. Outstanding talent, that is.
When you get the opportunity to play alongside him, when you put the international jersey on, Stuart, how would you rate him?
Yeah, I think he's come on. I mean, I think for Celtic now he's playing more in the middle of the park, and he's revelling in that. Not only for Celtic, because he's scored vital goals, he's also done it for Scotland as well. And I think in the last 2 seasons, out wide he's got to get the service to him, but in the middle of the park when he can get about. And although he's a small lad, he can look after himself physically, get the tackles in. And I think that's where he enjoys to play.
You think playing in the middle, he can hurt people more?
He can get, yeah. I think when he's out wide, he's relying on other people getting him the ball. You know, it's a bit frustrating. But now he can get in there, get on the ball himself, go forward, play off the front two, and his finishing's tremendous.
McStay could be back this evening, you were suggesting?
Yeah, there's a slight doubt, I think, about Phil O'Donnell, so they're waiting on McStay, but he came back Saturday and played an hour after, I think, 4 months out, so it'll be interesting to see how he's going to perform against Gascoigne.
OK, let's go back to Parkhead and get a word with Tommy Burns. He's with Davy Provin.
Tommy, your injury problems this morning were Pierre Van Hooijdonk, Andreas Thom and Phil O'Donnell. What's the news on them?
Well, unfortunately, Phil O'Donnell didn't make it, Davy. He's got a groin strain. We had to just leave him out tonight. But Pierre, we feel it's worth to involve him, even if it's a question of maybe putting him on at some stage in the game. Andreas Thom's made it okay, so we're delighted about that. And Paul McStay stays in the team as well, so we're well pleased.
Do you have any worries over Paul McStay's fitness, given the length of time he was out?
No, knowing you can play the game the way Paul McStay can play the game, David, no.
Josh McKinley was telling us yesterday that he wasn't concerned about who plays for Rangers or how they play. It was all about how Celtic play. Is that the way you look at it? Yeah,
and I think that's the only way we can look at it. I think Celtic are a big club. Where supporters come to see what we can do as opposed to what other teams can do. And I think, to be fair, Rangers Football Club are very much in the same lines. It's very, very positive as far as the Old Firm's concerned. We've always got to go and take games. And so tonight should be a real good game because you get both teams that will come and want to go and put on a right good show.
First Old Firm game back at the redeveloped Celtic Park. There's a special atmosphere in here tonight. Do you wish you were pulling the boots on?
Yeah, and if I'd passed the fitness test this morning, I would have been pulling the boots on. But, no, it's a great experience to play in any Old Firm game. And now I think, you know, Rangers Football Club have got their act together over there. They've got a big new stadium, lots of good quality players. And we are, as I say, slowly but surely getting there as well. I've come back to Celtic Park, the new stadium, and full of optimism and want to go and put on a real good show.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks a lot, Davey. Probably had his boots on in the 5 this morning anyway, didn't he? So just to summarise, Tom plays, O'Donnell is out. He didn't exactly say, because he doesn't have to for a couple of minutes yet. The teams don't go in until past. But Van Hooydonk's on the bench, it would appear. Yep. He'll be a big miss, won't he? Yeah, well, I don't think he's been as impressive to start the season as what maybe Tom has been. But what Van Hooijdonk does, he threatens a goal a lot more. He's 6'5", so people like Richard Gough, who for me has been in tremendous form to start the season for Rangers. You've got to give Gough a problem in these areas, and Van Hooijdonk ideally would have been the one for Celtic tonight. Well, what about Simon Donnelly's form, who burst onto the scene a year or so ago, disappeared last season really, but appears to be back? Would that be right? Yeah, well, what Simon's had to do now, he went a whole season without getting a goal last season. He had a bad injury halfway through the season and suffered a lack of confidence, really, that was it. He's playing wide right now and supplying a bit more, and the pressure's been eased from goal scoring. You see here, he's growing in strength. Here's Alan McLaren, who's actually quite a quick defender, and Simon does well against him. Gets a little bit of break in the box. It's a lovely finish right now. But he's improved, and he's playing in this right wing as if he's thoroughly enjoying it. I mean, he's playing like Jerry Craney used to out there. I don't think the Celtic support would agree with you there, but he's settled into it, and I think now he's starting to enjoy his game again, and he's got 2 goals behind him already this season, and I think he's looking as if he's starting to believe in his game again. Oh, we've got live football here on Sky Sports tonight. The Old Firm Coca-Cola Cup 4th round tie. Celtic against Rangers for a place in the last 4. And a reminder that we have to get a positive result this evening, extra time if it's required, and then penalties if that doesn't separate them. More on Rangers next.
The Frenchman with flair takes on Ruud Gullit, the master passer for the...
Who's in? And on the pitch right now, Paul Gascoigne, who's played in derby matches in London. We'll never forget that semi-final screamer at Wembley against Arsenal. In derby matches in Rome for Lazio. Tonight he gets his first taste of a derby in Scotland. The Old Firm. Paul Gascoigne. Yeah, unmistakably Paul Gascoigne. Let's go back to Parkhead and join Walter Smith.
Walter, you added Stephen Wright and Brian Laudrup to Saturday's squad. Will either of them play tonight?
Yes, both will play tonight. Stephen Wright will come back. I just felt he had played a lot of football. I said Brian Laudrup, who was just having to play 4 games in 3 days, you know, after being injured. So both of them return tonight.
Presumably Laudrup will play off McCoist and Salenko, who will be playing through the middle. Is this as attacking a Rangers side as you could have picked?
Well, I don't think I could put on any more forwards. I mean, we have Charlie Miller and Paul Gascoigne in the middle, who are both attacking players. And, you know, up front, that's Laudrup, Salenko and McCoist. So I feel in a cup tie, and especially a game against Celtic, then, you know, we'll have to go for it, and we'll do that tonight.
We've been looking at the players of both sides since they've come out onto the pitch. We can see the tension in their faces. Does this match grab the managers the same way?
I think so. I don't think it matters how many times you experience it. You still feel the nervousness when you come. You know how much it means to everybody. I suppose you get used to it to a certain degree, but there's still a great deal of nerves involved.
All eyes tonight, of course, will be on Paul Gascoigne. Are you confident he'll handle this?
I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, Rangers and Celtic games is sometimes the hype that surrounds it means that people think the worst. But in the broad basis of it, I think there's only been 1 or 2 odd and offs over the period of time that I've been here. So I don't see any problems in terms of behaviour tonight.
Thanks, Walter.
Thanks, David.
And we're only certainly thinking positively about this one tonight. Well, now Rangers form, like Celtic, they had money to spend in the summer, but it appeared that they had an open chequebook. Walter Smith spent $1.5 million on Stephen Wright. Then came the signing of the summer, Paul Gascoigne from Lazio. Another $2.5 went to Valencia for the Russian Oleg Salenko. And the spending spree was completed with the arrival of Gordon Petric. The new stars didn't shine in the European Cup preliminary round, but at least Gordon Dury's goal gave them a lead against